This is Tony West from Blacklist Union, and you're listening to Music Existence.
Welcome back to another instance of music existence where because of music, we exist. Welcome back to the show, Tony West from Blacklist Union. They got a new single out, Horns and Halos. They started a tour on May 23rd, and you're actually adding some new dates for the tour too. So, welcome.
Thank you,
Thanks for
sir.
coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
It's awesome to, like I said off screen, it's awesome to see you, to hear your voice after a long time. The last time we talked was back in September of 2018, if you can believe it.
That's crazy, man. Time flies.
Yeah, but it's awesome. Just to recap, so you spend your formative time around New York City area. You went bonkers in Yonkers. I know we're both uh, cats from Westchester. I'm from Hawthorne, and you also spent time in the Bronx, and you've familiarized yourself with like the New York hardcore scene, and that was all really important to you. And it was awesome also learning about you that you especially got really into Mother Love Bone and Andy Wood's previous band, Malfunkshun. And I
Yeah,
was wondering about that. Did you ever get into like the Deep Six compilation where they had Melvins and the U-Men and Soundgarden too?
that sounds familiar. But I sang in Malfunction, right, with Kevin Wood for a while too. And
Kevin, yeah, I remember that was one of your collaborations that you did with.
yeah, I mean, like Andy Wood, he's my muse, and I learned everything I know from him. And I mean, I was asked to join my hero's band, which was amazing, and I have so many beautiful experiences from that. You know,
That's really
so
awesome, man. So you not only like learned about Andy, learned the muse, but you got close to his brother Kevin, and you actually kind of lived your dream in a way. That's
yeah,
awesome.
and I got to tell take Andy and Kevin's mom out to lunch, and I told her, I couldn't even tell you what your son's done for me without sounding like an absolute freak. And she told me she loved me. And I never forgot that, Andy Wood's mom. I
The
mean,
boy's
so
mom, let me tell you, seeing her in that documentary, the most cherubic, bubbly, I can tell that's
super
where
cool. Yeah.
Andy gets it from.
Yeah. She's a total hippie lady. You know what I mean? Like she was a hippie,
Both
like
of them are
hardcore.
so cool, and like she was so loving to both of them.
Yeah. And then there's another brother, Brian. I've never met him, but
Yeah,
uh,
it's just so cool that you were able to to do that sort of thing, and your travels have, you know, brought you to many different places. You've been to LA when you were 19, you tried your hand at that, and then you also moved to Memphis, and that's where you met Paul Crosby from Saliva. So,
I'm actually in Memphis right now. But yeah,
yeah,
my first wife, Tracy, God rest her soul, she grew up with
yeah,
the
I
guys in
remember her.
Saliva. So I got to meet Saliva before. I think I was at Paul's second gig. I said it was his first, but he says it's his second with Saliva. But I love Saliva. I love Memphis, fucking home of rock and roll. I live in LA in Laurel Canyon, but I'm getting tattooed by a guy out here in Memphis. He's one of the two tattoo artists I go to nowadays. So
That's really awesome, man. And it's cool. So by that time, you've taken in like all these different genres from New York hardcore to, the early grunge of Seattle in the mid to late 80s to the new metal scene now. And talk about how your relationship started with Paul Crosby as far as like getting that going.
So I became friends with Chris DeBaldo first in Saliva in '98, and then I mean we were all like, man, it was like I found my tribe, and then me and Chris were super tight friends. Me and Wayne Sweeney were super tight friends. Me, Paul, and Josie were super tight friends. But with Paul, he's always been my like everyday kind of guy in my life. You know what I mean? Like you have some friends you don't talk to for a while, and then you see them and you pick up where you left off and shit like that. But
It's
me and
just like
Paul have
us, we're doing right now, man.
right. And me and Paul have that, but we're an everyday kind of relationship, and I love him. He's my brother, man. He's very important to me, and he's been through a lot of things in his life too. And he's a great manager, and I can say enough good things about him.
Yeah, I mean, his management has worked wonders for especially like a lot of indie bands, a lot of bands on like the indie circuit.
Yeah,
Like my friends at Dark Remedy had
yeah.
worked with him too, and he kind of was instrumental, pun intended, because we're talking about music, and in catapulting them to the heights that they are now.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing that you kind of struck gold with that connection.
Well, he's my friend and I trust him, and that's a big deal in my world. And with Paul, I follow his lead, like it's so beautiful to have people in your life that you fucking trust, you know what I mean? Because that's a fucking, I mean, you can't buy that shit,
And I
So,
and I
and
know about you. You've been through that whole thing, man, where it's always a game of like you form bonds, but you also form irrational attachments. You pedestalize people. You end up getting chewed up, spit out, and
oh yeah, well,
it ends
I
up
mean, well,
being like
that's
more
that's
fickle
LA.
than you wanted to. So, for this to happen, this is amazing.
That kind of shit mostly happens in LA, and LA has a reputation of that shit and it's for the most part it's true. But there are some good people there in LA still. Plus we're paying for the fucking weather at this point, and like I would have moved out of there long ago if it wasn't for my kids. My son just graduated high school last
Congratulations.
Friday. Yeah, I have a daughter who's going to be 12 in July, so I can't exactly leave California yet, but I hope I can. I really do love Tennessee. It's so beautiful in Tennessee, like all the fucking trees and stuff. And I do like Texas too. But,
You're just taking it all in. And
yes, sir.
so, one of the points that we left off with, I know we were kind of bouncing around because we were going like really back and forth during our last interview. So we talked about a bunch of things, but one of the things that one of the points that we kind of paused on was the album that you were working on at the time, Letters from the Psych Ward, and as of last year, it finally materialized. So, how did that thing sort of reach a point where it was like, yeah, let's put this out?
Yeah, so with the New York hardcore thing, the Back to Momo record I wrote, of course, with Todd Youth, who is
Yeah, yeah.
instrumental in New York hardcore and stuff. And when he died, I loved him dearly. He was my brother, and he was another one, an everyday friend. But me and Todd had a very special writing relationship, dude, that was like, I'm telling you, man, like Tyler Perry, fucking Keith and Mick, like, Angus
Like
and
John Bon
Bon.
Jovi and Richie Zambora, like
Yeah,
that
it's
kind
like
of
me
thing.
and Todd had that thing, and it was so easy. It was effortless. And after he died, I went to the Amazon jungle in Peru with the Shipibo Indians, and I did ayahuasca, which was life changing and a spiritual journey. I've done it one
I mean,
time.
like one can only
Yeah,
dream about that, but the fact that you actually went ahead and like, fuck it, let's do
me and
this.
me and my wife did it because when Todd died, I was like, I cannot let this destroy me because
Right.
I've had so many people I love die, man, and like. I had to find a new way of dealing with it rather than destroying myself, you know.
Right.
So when I came back after doing ayahuasca the first time, 5 times in the jungle with the Shipibo Indians of Peru, I wrote the whole Letters from the Psych Ward record.
From
Um,
that trip?
from all the journeys into healing and all the visions I had and all the things I had. Like Todd came to me, and a lot of those songs, Dirty Halo, for instance, what it says, the lyrics in the chorus say, the youth's gone cold with the fatal blow. The second coming's a no go. I don't mind your dirty halo, but the youth's gone cold with the fatal blow is about Todd dying. And
Right.
then the next line of the second coming's a no go is about we were supposed to write another record together, you know. So with the Blacklist Union stuff, the songs, dude, they're like fucking therapy for me because there are things about spiritual things and healing and stuff that I'm constantly reminded of for myself. I swear it's like fucking therapeutic, you know what I mean? But I couldn't find anyone to write with, dude. And I reached out to Johnny Rico from Warrior Soul, the original guitar player from Warrior Soul, who was
Yeah, I
one of my
remember we talked about Warrior Soul
one of
too.
my biggest
Sure.
influences, and I reached out to a lot of people, and it just didn't materialize. So
Oh
I
man.
decided I decided to write the record with Chris Johnson, who's produced all the Blacklist Union records and knows my voice better than anyone, you know.
Yeah,
So he
he's
wrote the
he's
music.
a like a second in command, like as far as like
Exactly, yeah.
generation. Like you guys have like a very like hands-on partnership, I notice.
Yeah, and he helped us develop our sound and shit, man. I mean, he helped me become a better singer, and so he's part of the band. You know what I mean? And I'm really happy with the band members too. Now we have a solid lineup. Like we have Cordell Crockett on bass. He was in Ugly Kid Joe for years. You know, one of the original members, and such a great guy. And we have Justin Perez from New Orleans, Raph
Yeah.
Ransom out of Houston. You know, we have it's just kick ass, man. Our rhythm guitar player D, man, I've known him forever, and he's a true Hollywood soldier, punk rock motherfucker. I love having him in the band, and he was friends with Dee Dee Ramone. You know, like his last because moved to Hollywood the last few years of his life, so we all got to know him. You know, so but I love that
That's
connection.
really lucky, man, that you got to meet like a legend like him. I don't mean
He
to be cliche, but he's just a guy, and then his status like just comes in retrospect.
But you know what's so cool about him, bro, was that he was the most humble, down to earth guy, the sweetest guy, and he was like a little kid in an adult body, like you know,
Still had
he
that
was
fire in him, right?
he was funny as fuck, you know.
I bet, man. Yeah, that's gonna be awesome though.
So
And
the new record, you know, Letters from the Psych Ward was a single, Dirty Halo was a single, Keys to the Kingdom is another song. That's kind of an homage to Marilyn Manson. I love Marilyn Manson, and
yeah,
it's definitely got some Manson flavor in there. You know, that was on purpose and as a salute and tribute to Manson because he was getting so much shit, dude. You know what I mean? For a long time. I don't know
yeah, I
what
know,
went
like
down.
with all the
All his,
scandals and whatnot.
yeah, yeah,
And
and
so letters from the psych ward, it's such a contrast conceptually from the healing journey that you actually took. Being in the jungles out with a tribe that you're very interested in learning about must have been completely not only um, eye-opening, but it kept you functional. If you were actually, beat down that bad and had to stay stagnant, motionless in a psych ward, that would have been like you still would have gotten a lot of writing done, but it would have been like very stationary and debilitating.
yeah, I'd say. But you know that title comes from I was in a therapy session and my ex wasn't answering me, my daughter's mother actually, and I was like,
Right.
"Yo, I was like, she's not messaging me back, blah blah blah." And he goes, "Why would she? That's like letters from the psych ward." And I said, "What?" I said, "Letters from the psych ward. That's the name of my next record. Thank you. Bye."
Oh shit! It's
but
funny when
but I can tell
inspiration
you, bro,
strikes like that.
Letters from the Psych Ward is about trying to stay sane in a fucking world that's gone mad, dude. That's what that shit is about. So
Yeah, and like when you're in the when you're in that kind of environment, again, it's very stationary, it's very stagnant, it's very
yeah,
like sedentary, and like everything just like passes you by. Like, holy shit.
yeah.
But I definitely see where you're going with the Keys to the Kingdom. I can definitely hear the Manson influence, and it's one of the shorter songs, but you pack so much into it, especially like the kind of the fuzzy, more like experimental kind of from frenetic edge to it that it has toward like the middle part, or was
Oh,
it like
thank you. I
toward
love
the
that
end?
middle part.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's so it's unexpected though, because you think it'd
nice.
just be like a tight single that everyone should just listen to and enjoy, but then it's like, holy shit, wait, there's something more to this. And I think as the album progresses, you let your your influences fly, like Dirty Halo, uh Goodbye, Mr. Faded Glory.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's an homage to Andy Wood right there because one of his tag lines was, in Chloe Dancer, where he says,
Yeah, Chloe Dancer.
have you ever heard the story of Mr. Faded Glory? And for me, that song is about goodbye, Mr. Faded Glory, of course, is in honor of Andy Wood, but it's also about me with letting go of the sad sob story and all the pain and trauma and shit that I've been
Yeah,
carrying
yeah,
around for years. Sorrow, lots of sorrow. I had so much sorrow. So it's like letting go of that.
but yeah, because a lot of people, when they have trauma happen to them, they play the card. They play that card. They want
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
everyone
yeah.
to
Right, right.
listen, but you
Yeah,
have a creative outlet. Instead of just telling the same story, you put it into an album. You put it into an album that you can actually push out there and reach like so many people, myself included,
yeah.
with it. So it's awesome. I love
Thank you.
just how the influence kind of unfolds. And
Yeah,
yeah, definitely has that Andy Wood energy.
yeah.
Like Malfunction, I thought of like Jesse Bell Woman.
Nice. I love that song.
Jesse Bell
I
Woman.
love that shit. Yeah.
Yeah. But
My girlfriend, she takes me home.
oh,
I love that. I love that shit.
yeah, yeah. But
Dude, so there's a couple songs on the end of the record that we put on as bonus tracks, which were Gates of Steel, which is a Devo cover, and
right.
also Golden Years, which is, of course, Bowie.
Oh yeah.
And so what the reason why those got on the record was DH Peligro and me's DH Peligro from the Dead Kennedys and Xander Schloss from Circle Jerks. We went into the studio just for fun and recorded those songs with this cat named Paul Rossler, a great guy in LA. And then a fucking DH died, dude.
Oh man.
So, and he was one of my best friends too. He was like, an everyday guy. So I put
Yeah.
that on the record for him, like his for DH. So I had his spirit there, on the record.
Yeah. Well, that's like
So
that's still awesome, man. Again, it's those those lucky moments that you cherish, that you value. Like you're
yeah.
lucky to have like someone's voice or someone's character on a record that
I know. So that's why I'm so grateful that the record me and Todd did back to Momo, bro. Like I love that record. And it's funny because the European press call it a classic rock and roll record. And I was like, when I first heard that, I was so honored. I was like, oh my God, finally somebody gets it. So
it speaks to a level of timelessness, that used to
thank
be.
you very much.
And so what can you say about your current lineup that you have now? Ralph Ronson, D. Hayes, Kodo Crockett, Justin Perez. What can you say about that team, that cohesion that you have now?
Man, it's the best fucking team I've ever had, and our entourage is great. The wives are great. Our merch girl's great. Everybody's fucking great, and it took a long time to build it this way. And we've done road dates together, and it's been fun and like no drama, and just a beautiful thing, So we got to do some dates with Texas Hippie Coalition. We're going back out with them again. Um, we did some dates in Phoenix, Tucson, and Gallup, New Mexico. I don't recommend that place,
Oh man.
uh, but it was a good experience, And then we just played our last Saturday on our home turf at the Viper Room, and then we have a gig June 22nd at Bar Sinister in LA, which is the last cool rock and roll motherfucking club in LA. So
I bet. So so going to Horns and Halos, that's obviously a reference between, devil horns and, and the angels, that being the halo. And like when I saw the video for Horns and Halos, I was like, something about this aesthetic looks familiar. And I looked at the director and I'm, who could it be but Thomas motherfucking Crane?
I love that guy, dude. He's fucking so
He has
talented. And
this like synesthetic approach, when you match colors with certain sounds.
oh yeah, see, I love that. That's so creative and like, I love that kind of shit. And he does that. He has his own flavor, which is so great. And he's a pleasure to fucking work with, dude. And he's very creative. He's very talented. I really love that guy. And he's part of our team that I'm talking about. We've done half a dozen videos with him, you know.
That's really awesome. And in not even a month since the thing was released, the video, like 500,000 views already. What the fuck? Like, that's gotta be like, that's a testament to not only the video, but I'd imagine like the song reaching that many people.
Yeah, it's gonna have a big push here, starting June 17th. This shit's gonna go fucking this song's gonna hit for sure. So,
Yeah, so this is only the beginning.
and me and Paul Crosby wrote this song together. It
Yeah,
was me and
so
Paul.
so how's he as a writer, and how does he allow you that free reign to bounce off his creativity while also allowing you to contribute your own ideas?
So, man, Paul is the motherfucking master of groove. I mean, he was in Saliva, dude.
Yeah,
There's no better motherfucking groove than Saliva, I can tell you. Like, because they used to back in the day, man, you would move without even realizing it. Like they had that.
yeah.
So Paul is the groove master, first of
He's
all.
been drumming since like the mid '80s, right? That's
I
like
don't know
right in
about
your
that.
formative years.
But what you call it? He's a great songwriter. He's a simple songwriter, which is great. He leaves it wide open for vocals, but he's very good. I complimented him on this. I was like, because he's a drummer, so he writes. When he writes, he sets it up for the next part in the most beautiful, simple motherfucking ways. But those setups are so important for transitions and stuff. So I just really enjoy writing with Paul. We have another one we wrote too, um, on the new record Slay the Dragon that's going to come out this year. But
That is that's amazing, man. I'm glad that you established this really, like you said, it's a beautiful partnership that it's productive too.
yeah,
And it seems like you're planning things way out there, but it's not only in terms of planning, those plans, even though they're in the woodwork, inch by inch, they're materializing too.
yeah.
It's
Man, it's about look. I always say, like, I'm telling you, I did this ayahuasca stuff, and like, I've done all kinds of things in my life to heal, but there was nothing more healing than what I did in the jungle with the Indians. And I just went again in December. So I have this theory, like, you know, like a drain. If a drain is stopped up with hair and bullshit, like what happens? It gets clogged up and overflows. So, like, the human body or soul, if you will, is a lot like that. Like, if you're clogged up with sorrow and regret and pain and all this bullshit, you can't be a flow. Like, the energies of the world that we all have access to can't flow through you because you're clogged up with bullshit, trauma, resentment, whatever the fuck it is. So you clear away that shit and you have access to magic. I really honestly have experienced that. And then when you clear away and confront yourself and your bullshit, the whole fucking world starts opening up, dude. It's very simple, but it's not easy, like
Yeah,
confronting one's bullshit, people take to the grave, before they do that shit. You know what I'm
but
saying? But
yeah,
but
yeah.
but with the Indians and the ayahuasca that I've done, it's the most fucking healing thing, most beautiful thing. I wish I could give it to so many friends that are in pain.
Yeah, yeah. And like, and it's a testament to where you are now, man, because, reading through your history, you definitely went through some fucked up bullshit that was undeserved. You have this like very kind of stunted upbringing, as I have, because I was born disabled, and that's a whole other different story. But like, man, like going through that and not really noticing where you belong or what role you play, and like I said, different friendships, different relationships where you're chewed up and spit out. It takes you to say like, I'm not gonna let this bullshit of my past control me anymore.
Oh yeah, because it doesn't even exist. The only
Yeah,
place it exists, it exists in our body because our body holds on to trauma if you don't work it out. Like I do yoga every fucking day, but
yeah,
and then it can exist in our mind. And, it's like, but in reality, it doesn't exist. It's in the past. Like all we have is right now, right now, right now, right now. And I tell my kids like the reason it's called the present is because if you can stay in the moment, it's a gift. It's exactly that, a present, but it's not an easy thing to do. It's a practice like singing or yoga or guitar or whatever.
yeah.
So, yeah.
It's really That's really well put. It's a really good lesson, like a gentle lesson to bestow upon your kids. I mean, I'm sure that they definitely appreciate and embrace your presence in their lives.
And they're funny though. My daughter's always tells me what a dork I am and shit. You know what I mean? But she's gonna be 12 next month. But I love my kids for sure. It's funny because I tell them I'd rather you say fuck than hate. I say hate carries weight. Don't use that word. Say dislike. You know, because I don't know if you can dig what I'm saying, but I
Yeah,
tell
but
them
fuck around. I mean, you can fuck around in an egregiously bad way, but then there's good times associated with fucking, so
no. I tell them they can say fuck instead of hate. I didn't say anything to them about fucking. No, I don't want to go there.
yeah.
My
But
son, though, he just graduated. He's 17. So
but but it's good that it's good that like either way, like you're present in their lives, and you are a present in their lives too.
right,
And
thank you.
it's really good that that you take interest in them, and that you encourage them, and
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you embrace the direction that they're going. And like anytime, I guess, that they might struggle here and there, you're there to say like, nah, this is just like temporary. This is manageable. You can do this. You got
right.
this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, my son's grown up now, and I was like, man, Dylan, there's I wanted to accomplish you feeling loved and you feeling safe during your childhood. And he was like, you did that, Dad. And I was like choked up. I was like, thank God. Because man, that shit stopped with me. Like all the shit I went through, my sister went through as a kid, all the abuse and stuff, that fucking shit does not get carried on. It stopped with me, man. Like that fucking bullshit we had to endure. Like I never would abuse my kids in any way or anything, but
Yeah. And you can go of either, and there's three different ways I notice. Like everyone talks about like you can be abused, or you can be abused and potentially become the abuser, or
Right.
you can stop the cycle. But the third
Right.
way is the one that nobody talks about, is where you completely detach and you shy away from forming bonds with others. And I'm
Right.
so glad that that didn't happen to you. That's got to be the worst way, that indifference, that apathy. Like, and that's happened to me, growing up. So I appreciate it. It's kind of like when we talk to each other, like you speak from a place of sincerity, of that love. Like I can totally feel that.
Nice. Thank you. Sometimes when people say, what kind of music do you play? I'll say love rock because Andy Wood, but I don't say that. I don't say that to fucking say. I say it in honor of Andy Wood. Like I'm like, oh, we play love rock.
Yeah, Landrew the love child.
Yeah, dude. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess to wrap up, considering what you've been through in your career thus far, what have you learned about yourself, not only as a musician, but as a person?
I mean, so much. As an artist, and as a singer, like I started learning a technique by this legendary vocal coach named Ron Anderson, and man, like it's changed my game, and I've learned about myself that I'm always open to learn, you know what I mean? Like you got to stay open, stay teachable, stay coachable,
You
and
have a
uh,
healthy relationship with learning.
fuck yeah, I don't know anything, I know some things, but and then what was the other question?
Well, it's just a general, like, what have you learned about yourself, not only as a musician, but as a person? So,
I gotta give like I just do not give up, bro, either. You know what I mean? And then, the band and me, we keep getting better and better because we're getting better and better as humans. Like, you know what
as
I mean? And
communicators too,
I,
right?
I, I got, yeah. And, that's one of my things where, I got to make sure I make an effort to communicate because I'm not a mind reader and I can't expect people to read my mind. You know what I mean? So, but, we have this new song, Can You Heal Me? In one of the lines, and feel free to use it. I say, acting like a dick won't make yours any bigger, you know? And
That's
that's
really poignant, man. That's
right.
good. That's good.
I
That's a
love
good
that
one. That's
one. The
classic.
ladies, the ladies love that one
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure,
yeah.
man. I'm sure.
But
But
that pretty much
oh
sums it
yeah,
up, dude. Like
yeah.
acting like a dick.
But that's good, man. That's good that you're always um open to learning and also improving upon your craft. And I wanted to also ask you about, because we also talked about one of your collaborations with Todd that you did was a cover of My Sweet Lord for George Harrison.
No, I was gonna do that. That never materialized, but
Is
I
there a
wanted to.
recording that exists? I mean, do you plan to do that one too, or?
I wanted to do that after Todd died. We hadn't talked about that, but Todd was a devout Krishna, so was George Harrison, and they both their ashes were buried or poured into the Ganges River in India, which has very spiritual significance. But I've always wanted to do that song for Todd, you know. But Todd is with me all the time, bro. Even like back to Momo, the title track is in our set. I always dedicate it to him, and you know what I mean? So, but that's definitely on the agenda to do for covers. I have a couple of good ideas for covers. Covers are fun, dude, so, but not cover bands. I'm not down with the tribute band. I mean, God bless them. I have a lot of friends in them and stuff, but I just couldn't do it. But my
I
first
mean,
band,
yeah, that's
my,
true. It was acceptable in like from like 67 to like 79, but anything after that was kind of like, okay, dude.
my first band though, when I was a kid was a Ramones tribute band. So, but hey,
That was good. That's a way to at least get yourself out there with the three chord madness, and
dude,
even
and
even so,
my
like
first,
the Ramones have like grown into their own like thing
oh,
too. Like they've crafted like more melodious songs, better songs, you would say, as have you, I'm sure.
Sure. My first time ever playing live was in a Ramones tribute band in the Valley. It's in LA at a club called FM Station. And Lemmy came to my first gig
Oh
that I ever
man.
did, which is pretty cool. Not too many people can say Lemmy came to their first gig. You know what I mean? So,
Oh, Tony West, Islamic, a good shot.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
He was never very expressive, but when he was, like, you can tell, you
dude.
can see that glimmer in his eyes.
Oh my God. I have so many funny
Especially when
stories
he
about
got
him.
the Beatles in mono. That was like the happiest you've ever seen him.
Nice.
You remember in the Lemmy documentary when you see him getting the Beatles in mono and he's like so eager.
He was a funny guy, dude. He was very, very witty. Like he would put you in your place in his fucking New York second, and like there was several times he left me standing there with my jaw hanging open, and I was like, yeah.
I mean,
So
and you never, he's very like unassuming because you have this sort of gentleness about him, but he also went through so much pain, early in his life that, he soldiered on just like you did, man.
yeah, yeah. Well, what else you gonna do? That's all you can do.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, anything you'd like to say to your fans?
Just thank you for the support, and come see us live. We deliver, and there's more kick-ass music coming. So stay tuned.